Howdy do, motherfuckers. Papa Stanimus here. Today we're going to talk about the legend of PUBG and its epic fail. PUBG is literally the biggest failure of all time when it comes to video games, and we're going to talk about why. Before we get into this PUBG madness, I want to ask you guys to please subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and drop a comment down below with your thoughts on these topics. It really helps me out. I need your help to make this channel bigger, and I want to make a lot more dope videos for people. So let's do this together. Hit the subscribe button. PUBG first really started getting a lot of traction in 2017, in the summer of 2017. My personal story with it is I had someone I was working with mention the game, so I went and checked it out, and I saw it was $30 on Steam, and I was like, it's kind of $30. And I went and looked it up on Twitch, and then I saw Dr. Disrespect playing it. That's how I first found him too. And I was watching him go around and loot and do all this stuff, and I was like, ooh, this game actually looks kind of interesting. This was not what I expected, and I ended up getting the game and enjoying it very much, despite it being super buggy. Okay, that's the thing. From the very beginning, the game has always been very rough and buggy. And quite frankly, it's astounding that it got so far in that state. Anyways, the game did really well 2017, and then in 2018 it started doing even better. And in that year, according to my sources, PUBG earned about $1 billion in 2018, which is absolutely incredible. That same year, Fortnite made about $3 billion. So there is that. Now, during this time, they had a lot of crates, and there was so much hype around this game. It was doing so well. And this was around the time when I was hosting custom games. Like, here's an example of an old game that I was hosting. And, you know, I just make these games, they fill up. And it was a lot of fun. You know, they're just custom games, but also super buggy. Now, I became a much bigger streamer because of this game during this time of me doing this. And it was awesome, dude. I'd fill these games up. We'd fill them up so big every time. And I got really gained a lot of traction on Twitch. The game remained really buggy. It was around this time that PUBG released this dev letter called Fix PUBG. And they basically were, a lot of people, the whole player base was complaining about how buggy the game is and how they're not fixing it. Every time they launch a patch, the game somehow feels worse. You know, there's desync issues, people, you know, shooting from around corners at different times, you know, like not synced up with each other. And hackers is to this day is still one of the biggest issues in this game. And they were also at this time aggressively trying to get into the esports scene and turn this game into an esport. And there's a lot of baggage around that as well. Now this thing is really funny because they at some point said, hey, we did it. It reminded me of when George Bush says, mission accomplished after we invaded Iraq and because of 9/11 and stuff, right? So I feel like PUBG has their own mission accomplished moment, but nothing really was accomplished, and the game still continued to be super buggy and problematic even after that. I think when they said mission accomplished, that's around the time PUBG started losing about 10% of its player base month to month, which I'll show you here in a second. Okay, so the saga of this game, it made $1 billion in 2018, and then it started to flop, and everyone started leaving. Let me just go ahead and pull this up. This is the craziest thing. Okay, so look at, these are the average players. Okay, so as of right now, they've had actually that's actually a big number for lately. I think they're kind of doing a little bit better. Maybe PUBG makes a big comeback in the future, but I don't know. 403,000 all-time peak, which is good, but right now about 55,000 players. That's not a small amount of players playing a game. It's really not. But when you look at where they came from and where they're at now, that seems like the big problem. So here's all this growth. 2017 was absolutely amazing. They got all this growth, okay? And 2017 was their biggest year, in my opinion. That's where all their growth happened. And then something happened in February of 2018, okay? That's when they lost almost 200,000 players. Wow, like what happened there, okay? Or that's their gain is, instead of gaining players, like the month before it, they were adding so many players beforehand. The 148,000 players added the month before, and then the following month they lost all of that plus about 50,000 more, right? And then they just continued to lose month after month after month. And then here's a big update, right? This was like Vikendi or something like that, I think. I can't remember. But every time there's like a map update or some sort of big update, they have a little bit of a gain, and then it instantly dies back off, right? Here's another gain month, maybe some update or something. Here's another gain month, right? But for the most part, it's about 10% loss in players month to month to month, even now. And this is what I'm really here to talk about, is this big fail. How do you make $1 billion and then have this happen? So let's talk about exactly why the game is so buggy and why they weren't able to fix it. So at the very beginning here, before the launch, right, they got an Unreal Engine license and built this game using the Unreal Engine and got super hacky to make it work, which I commend them, and they should not have done it any other way, because this is the resources they have. This is a mobile game company in South Korea that has never made anything like this before, and they took this engine as a small ragtag team and somehow made it work for this game and got 100 players to drop down and have a map and all this stuff. It's just really crazy that they actually did that, and I think that's super dope. However, after they made all this money, okay, and they had it's spaghetti code, and what they tried to do was program on top of all this spaghetti code, and it's almost like in a cartoon when there's like a leak and the character plugs the leak with his finger, and then like 2 more water spouts come out, and he plugs those 2 up, and then now there's more water, so no matter where he plugs the water leaks, another one comes back out. And that's exactly what happened to PUBG, and that's exactly what's still happening. I think they're really starting to narrow it down and get it working pretty smoothly, from what I hear from a lot of my friends that still play. But it's too little too late. Anyways, this was their critical moment. This is when they had all these players and they were letting them down by plugging all these holes. Here's what they should have done. Okay, with all that money, this is the mistake of the CEO of the company, or if it's out of his hands and it's some sort of board member shit, I don't know. Something happened to where they did not make the decision to recode this game. When they ragtag coded this game this whole time, and when they had all that money, they should have taken that money and recoded this game. Just like had like the Fix PUBG initiative should have been, hey, we're rebuilding the game. We have all this money. We hired Western talent. We're now in direct contact with Epic Games, who created the Unreal Engine, and they're helping us make this game run way more smooth. Like, this is what they should have done. They did bad business moves by not wanting to work with the Westerners and just trying to do it all themselves. And because, like, the Westerners have all the developers. We have the industry. Like, we make all the first-person shooter games, and they're massively successful. There's all these people that have been working in that industry for so long, and all PUBG has to do is hire those developers to come help make their game better, which they did, but super late. And I think if they did it early and rebuilt the game better, because look at Fortnite, for example. It's the exact same game engine. 100 players are dropping down, and they have all this crazy stuff that they add into the game like every week. The reason why it works so good for Fortnite and so bad for PUBG is all optimization and understanding of how to use the tools and how to create what it is they want to create efficiently. It's all about efficiency. So, and Epic Games is all about efficient code. Like, they have a huge history of like just being top tier developers in their entire history. Okay, these guys are coding nerds, and if only PUBG was able to capture that, get the talent. They didn't have the talent to make the game good. They were trying to do it themselves in South Korea, and they shouldn't have. And I think that's why they failed. And I think that we would have seen these numbers last a lot longer. They would be lasting into this year. PUBG could have become one of the biggest games in the world. But the problem is the game does not run on every computer like Fortnite does. Fortnite literally runs on phones. Okay, now here's some funny facts. All right, Tencent a Chinese conglomerate company. Everyone knows Tencent. If you don't by now, you will. They bought PUBG. And the funny thing is that PUBG, the actual game, failed really bad. But what Tencent started doing is they're not Western talent, but they have people that know how to do all this stuff. So they have the Chinese talent, and the Chinese, they have a bunch of talent. They know how to make stuff, okay? They copy a lot of things, but they know how to make stuff really efficiently. And what these guys started doing was developing the mobile version of this game. It's the exact same game, but make it run on phones. And what's super funny is that PUBG Mobile made over $1 billion in revenue. So the regular game started to die, but PUBG Mobile lives on. So the brand of PUBG was taken by a company that knows what the hell they're doing, and they remade the game so it'll work on phones, and that started being the success. Which it is a completely different game. They don't tie together in any way, but they have so much content coming out. Like, they have so many crazy things. I look at PUBG Mobile and Fortnite as just like brothers, okay? These guys know how to make a game, and PUBG Mobile has really big cash tournaments going for it all the time. It did just get banned in India. That's a side topic, and that's going to be a big deal. But despite that, there's a lot of cash tournaments for PUBG Mobile. And what's really funny is all the esports orgs that got involved in PUBG, they left PUBG, but they still have PUBG Mobile teams. That should tell you a lot of what happened. And the reason why it wasn't necessarily just because of hackers and the game being really buggy, but also PUBG was really bad at doing business with the esports orgs, and the esports orgs could not make money by competing in this game. So if orgs can't make money by competing in your game, they're gonna leave. So that's what happened here. And PUBG still continues. The saga continues. PUBG Mobile is so much bigger now than the normal game, and it's just it's quite the epic fail, in my opinion. I think that going from making $1 billion to losing 10% of your player base month to month for 2 years is the biggest fail of all time in gaming. What do you guys think? Thank you guys for watching my talk on the fail of PUBG. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Again, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment down below. And you can catch me live on Twitch Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at Twitch TV, PapaStanimus. See you in the next video.